Hey, this is David Wynn with the Mortgage Edge podcast, brought to you by Velocity Processing. Hey, today we have a very special guest from Corpus Christi. We have Jean Marie. Jean, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks, David. This is super fun.
I know, right? As we shoot here on a Friday, what is it, March 15th? I know you're super
14.
busy. Oh, it's 14th. See? March 14th, super busy. I got to get you out the door here soon because I know you got a lot of people to talk. So you got a fantastic story, Jean Marie. You've been in real estate since you were 21. So
Correct.
you've been in this business almost 50 years. So let's talk about that. Let's go all the way back. Uh, tw- uh 21. Was this your first job? How'd you get into real estate?
So I am an emeritus both in real estate and interior design. I decided that I wanted to finish college and pay for it myself. So I got my real estate license and I made some good decisions back then to make sure I could get my husband at the time, Henson Hazelwood, loans paid off and then get myself back into college. So I got my real estate license and didn't want to take money out of any of the other businesses we were working on to put myself through college. So that's what made me do it. And in 1986, I had one of my best friend's husband had gotten his real estate degree from Baylor University, and he kept bugging me and bugging me and bugging me and saying, "You got to go get your broker's license." And I was like, I'm taking 15 hours at the University of Texas. I'm helping with 3 other businesses. I have 2 children. I've got 32 pieces of rent property. I just don't think I have enough energy to go get my broker's license. Well, he just never let up. So I went ahead doing all of that at the same time. I went and got my broker's license. It was
While
the
you were still in
best thing
college?
that ever happened to me.
So you got your broker's license while you were still in college?
Yes, and raising 2 children and running 3 other businesses. Absolutely.
Wow,
There's no
things were a little.
stopping me. That's the only thing when I look back and I think about, trying to handle a child that was riding English equestrian horseback and riding and the other one that was going to Germany for soccer and doing all of that stuff. I just was completely going 100 miles an hour, and I still do that today. I still
That's
do
amazing.
that today. I literally run circles around most people, and I get a lot done, much more done in half a day than other people do in 2 days. But it's
All
just
right.
in my DNA. I can't stop it. I can't fix it. I just can't do it. I mean, it's just the way it is. So,
That's
and I
awesome.
think it's that energy that makes the buyers and sellers choose to use me. I moved to Corpus Christi in 1990. I was supposed to be half a week in Corpus and half a week in Austin because I had done a huge project in Austin called Steiner Ranch. It was very successful during the worst real estate market you could ever have. And they decided to pop me over to Corpus half a week, Austin. I did that for 2 years. And then by then my children were in college. I had no reason to be back in Austin, and I had fallen in love with the city of Corpus Christi, which is named after the body of Christ. So that's why I
Is
stayed.
So you've been here since 1990. Is it just you and your husband here, or what?
No,
Because
I'm
I'm sure
here
you're
just single, running the race.
running a race. So you said you're a broker. How many people in your brokerage right now, Gene?
Right now we have 25, and then we have 28 that are sitting waiting to get their classes finished, and then hopefully we'll be able to come on with us. We're expanding tremendously this year. I do believe, after all of the real estate markets that I've been in, including the 86, 87, 88, 89, when the banks were all closing, and then again in 2008, I see 2025, 2026, and 2027 as 3 of the most powerful real estate markets that are coming up. So we're trying to get I have a real passion because I work other sides of the deal. I'm not a competing broker, I'm a working broker, but I work other sides of the deal with some agents that are not trained. So at Weichert Realtors, the place of houses, we do the entire Coastal Bend area. Of course, Texas allows us to do everywhere, but, we mainly focus on the Coastal Bend area. We need to have some top-notch professional realtors that really do know what they're doing. And so that's the training the reason I bought the Weichert franchise. Weichert gives me every opportunity to do the best training. I have been approached by every franchise real estate company. None of them have what Weichert has, and none of them have the heart where they can give me everything that I need in order to truly train realtors on how to do this business top-notch professionally and really know this real estate world. So that's kind of one of the top priorities. We are having a fun thing this month. It's called March Madness. It's not basketball, but it's a ton of open houses that we're just doing repeatedly throughout the city at different hours every single day. We're all about that just because it's hard now with the new NAR rules that buyers have to, immediately sign a buyer's rep agreement to even get into property. So we're doing a bunch of open houses so they can kind of get a feel, be able to interview with us and be able to see the property. So this week we started the March Madness and we had 2 of the houses that were open from 10 to 1. Brokers open. They were opened immediately the day after we got them on the market, and we got contracts on both of them immediately. So it's working. It's strong.
So I have to ask, because you're a producing broker, which is a little bit different than a broker that's not a producing broker. Where the heck do you have the time to, because I've seen your numbers personally, Jean Marie, and you are busy all day. How do you have the time to do a personal production, plus run a brokerage, plus train, plus do all that stuff? When do you sleep? There's only 24 hours in a day.
I do sleep. I do sleep because it's not healthy not to. When I was going to college, had my 2 young children, doing real estate and helping on 3 other businesses. I only slept 4 hours. I will tell you that was not a healthy thing to do. I don't encourage people to do that. I do get my 8 hours in. It's random times, but I do get it in. It is critical, but I have a great staff. I mean, that is my answer. You have to be able to delegate. I have spent the last 3.5, 4 years really training a great office manager. Do they make mistakes? Yes. Do they hold themselves accountable for them? Yes. We now have a leads manager, a growth development person, and a recruiter. And then I have a incredible bookkeeper. One of the things I didn't tell you is that not only do we have the real estate part, but we've also started a rental management company that is also run by a top-notch realtor that actually I had sold him a property and he kept referring people to me. And I finally said, why don't you just go get your license? So he did, and he's been full-time now with us and started the rental management because Corpus Christi, the beauty of investing in Corpus is that we have a lot of short-term rental opportunities, and so we do a lot of the short-term rental, and then we do long-term, and so yeah, we've got that as a whole other arm to this. And on top of that, I have 5 of my own short-term rentals that we also manage. I do a lot of. I'm not doing it this year. This year we're focused on recruiting, but I've bought a lot of houses. I've gutted them. I've flipped them. I also got my degree in interior design, and it's kind of a funny story because when I graduated, I had 5 people, just because I'm, wired, I guess, I've had 5 people come and say, we want you to come work with us. And so when I opened the envelopes of what they were going to pay me, I just looked at them and went, I'm sorry. You want me to go to work every day from 8 to 5, and that's what you're going to pay me for a year when I can do real estate and get that in a month. So I had to reorganize my brain and just was like, you know what? So I not only do real estate, but I do a lot of interior design for a lot of my clients. I've done restaurants, I've done doctor's offices. So I've sold them all those buildings. And then that's the beauty of real estate. Real estate, once you do a deal with somebody, if you do a good job, you're not only their best friend, you not only get invited to all their children's birthday parties, you go to their graduation, and then you also, if as their business grows, you sell them a building, a commercial building, and then you do the interior design of their house and their buildings, and it just all works. And I think that's kind of the fun thing for the agents that do work at our office, is that they're following in a lot of that footstep. Because face it, real estate people, we're psychologists, we're marriage counselors. Sometimes we're maids. We have to clean the house. Sometimes we have to make their beds when it's a last minute showing. But we do whatever we need to do. If you want to be in this business, you have to have a servant's heart. And it's just that simple.
Well, this is a platform because we have a lot of agents across the country that are looking for new homes. So one of the things I heard you say is you provide leads for your agents. Is that correct?
I provide what?
Did you provide leads for your agents? Do y'all
Yes.
use Zillow and Redfin?
So Weichert is such a different franchise company. Weichert has leads that go to our office that are free to the agents.
Oh,
In
wow.
my office, the agents don't have to pay for anything until I teach them how to make a deal happen. Once they learn how to make a deal happen, so there's no setup fee, there's no sign fees, there's no desk fees, there's no transaction fees, there's nothing. So it's great for somebody that really is not sitting in a great position financially to be able to get taught. And Weichert gives me all the tools to be able to hand that over. We have a top-notch technology, and we have a top-notch technology provider to train the agents when they get in. So we have that. All of that is free. All they have to do is go out and produce, and then there's a minimal franchise fee that comes off of their deal. So for anybody that needs to get jump started in this business, and then of course their commission split increases as they become really good at what they do. But real estate offers so much in being able to do some investing on your own, being able to choose to be a relocation coordinator. Weichert has probably one of the strongest relocation companies in all of the United States. So I'm super excited about that. Like I said, I've been approached by every franchise real estate company, and I refused to go with them until I watched what Weichert offered me so that I could offer it to the agents so they could become professional and successful.
That's awesome. That's what a great story. So I have to ask, after being in this business for so long, your referrals have to be through the roof on a monthly basis. How do you decide which ones you take and which ones you pass off?
It depends on their timing, on the client's timing. I mean, that's it. Because I have a fabulous short-term rental up in Spicewood, just outside of Austin, that we rent out on 4 acres right next to Willie Nelson's ranch, hot tub, swimming pool. In fact, somebody just texted me that's a guest there and said, can you turn the hot tub on? And so I was able to do that sitting from here. Technology does help with that sort of thing for sure. But it's a place that also my family and I spend some time whenever somebody's not there. So I can go to Spicewood and I can be with my children and my grandchildren. And I also have another one in Horseshoe Bay. And we can, we can do all of those things together, and I can still work. I mean, I've got showing assistants. They can open the doors. They've been trained. I still do all the negotiations. I am a very strong negotiator. There's no doubt about it. I think some people are a little afraid of me sometimes, but once they get to know my heart, they're good. So.
Well, I'd hate to go against you. I mean, 50 years of negotiations, it has to do with how many transactions you do, and you're in I have to think that you've done more transactions than anybody across the table from you. So it could be a little bit intimidating, I would think. But
well, and that's I have to understand that the agents on the other side, if they're brand new, I always ask them, how long have you been in the business? And, please understand whatever it is that I'm saying or doing is coming from a bunch of experience. And I've even had some of them come and say, gosh, I've learned more from you in this one transaction than I've done in the 4 years at the company I'm with. So I want to switch over. So, yeah. I mean, we take this. Awesome. Here's my situation. Real estate is a very strong profession. It's simple, but it is not easy. It is simple, but it is not easy. It is a hardcore business. It is the largest investment in people's lives. And so when you have a servant's heart towards that for the client, in both, whether you're selling or whether you're the buyer's agent, it doesn't matter. Once you have that servant's heart and you really take that on for them, they feel it, they know it. And then you get a bunch of referrals from them too, because it's hard. You have to find the right person to work with, because it is a big deal. This is a big deal. I want the agents in my office, and they are very professional, very good at what they do. And I can tell you right now, my agents on their first real estate deals, title companies always call me and they're like, oh my God, this is the best offer I have seen. It's very explanatory. So I don't let them go and look foolish. I try to make sure that they are completely empowered and they know exactly what they're doing.
That's awesome. So I want to recap a little bit of something you said earlier. Being in this business as long as you have, you think that 2025, 2026, and 2027 is going to be the best 3 years in a long time, right? Even better than, after the 2008 crash in the 80s and stuff like that. What, for the people that are listening, that's, the last probably 2.5 years, almost 3 years has been some of the worst in the market. They said, I saw some stats out there that they said that 2024 was worse than 2008, which I don't know how much of that I believe or whatever, but the woman that lived through it and saw it all and stuff like that, where do you get your predictions from, or how do you see so for all those people that are saying, hey, you know what, the market's gonna crash, or what's going on with the market, or houses are too high, interest rates are too high, and all that stuff. Why do you predict the next 3 years being a boom?
Just from my experience of what I've already been through, the mindset of our country is in a totally different ball game. The fear is not there, but I have to tell you, 2024 was a great year for me. Yeah. And so really that's the big question. How can 2024 have been so bad? I mean, I've been in this business where I've done real estate deals with people, and then when the market's bad, I find them, at the grocery store handing out wine for people, or I find them checking people out at Barnes and Nobles. And I think to myself, why did they give up? Because this is an industry where people are always moving, changing, growing. There's, death, divorce, diamonds, and diapers, I mean, there's always something going on, even in a not hot market. And so if you can just put blinders on, stop watching the news, focus on the activities that real estate requires, even in a bad market. I mean, the worst market was 1986, 87, 88, and 89. And that subdivision I was working in was the top selling subdivision in the entire United States. So in my mind, what happened when the market was a little weird, I was like, I'm just not even going to pay attention. What I am going to pay attention is that the city of Austin was giving a tax rebate to 3M in Minnesota. So I flew to 3M and I met with the head honcho of 3M, and I said, y'all are moving to Austin. I got this great subdivision. And I knew if I sold that one guy, I would be selling the rest of the people that were going to be transferred. And that's exactly what happened. I did not pay attention that the banks were crashing. You know, we found a way to get money, for the people to be able to finance their homes. I mean, we did a lot of different things. So you have to focus on that and not on what the news is telling you. I mean, that's all I can tell you. And a lot of it comes from, my parents were Depression parents. I was the last of 6 children. Because of their frugality, but because of the stories that during the Depression, my father was 14 years old. He was driving around in a little red convertible. The Depression did not affect my family because they were hard workers, because they had landscape companies and ice companies, and they were doing, if you look up my last name in the Bronx, you'll see a whole subdivision that is the Giegerich place. So, you know, they just so that's in my DNA. It's in my blood. I can't help it. I mean, you know, when my grandparents were immigrants from Germany and Ireland and England, they came over to the United States to make their lives better. They came in legally. They came in, you know, through Ellis Island, did all the stuff that you're supposed to do, and then they just worked. And we don't know how to not work. In fact, all of us in our family, all 6 of us children, all were entrepreneurs. All 6 of us, because that's how we were raised.
My dad did something right to have
there you
6,
go.
You know, the nut doesn't fall too far from the tree. So that's awesome.
There you go.
What do you say to the people that, you know, I think the last stat I saw was 70% of the realtors sold 0 transactions last year. So I see a disparaging between the haves and the have-nots more than I've ever seen in real estate. What do you say? Why do you think that is?
Because they're not working. It's real simple. They're not doing the systems that are in place. I can tell you right now, we're very selective in what agents that we want to hire, because we don't want people that are going to not work this business. So I have a part-time agent that works a full-time job as a comptroller and sells 5 houses a month without batting an eye. If you follow the systems that we have in place and use the technology that Weichert offers or that we offer, and, you know, they'll at least be there for the sales meetings and the things that are critical, because they're able to take that time off. But there's, you know, Katie barred the door. There's no reason that people cannot make a living in this business. They just have to understand it. They have to work the system. They have to know their planned responses, but they mainly have to have a servant's heart. And what I tell agents when they come, I said, you have to have one of 3 things. You have to have 3 to 6 months of your expenses and savings. You have to have a sugar mommy or a sugar daddy, or you have to have great faith. And so it's the faith that really pushes people to the point where they know that they have that backing of just being faithful. So a servant's heart, being faithful, that'll win every time.
That's awesome, Marie. That's what a great story. Well, you know, we could sit here and talk to you all day, but I know you have a ton of stuff that you got to do today. It's going to be a busy weekend, and you. Thank you for taking the time today to sit down to us. But what did we not talk about that we should have talked about today?
Nothing. I think it's all good. Loans.
Awesome.
Tell us about your mortgage loans.
Well,
I think the interest rates are, I just went, because, I'll sell millions and then I'll sell a $40,000 lot. I mean, I am not picky about, I do whatever the client or the buyer or the seller, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to any of us in the office. We don't, we really don't care whether we're doing a $40,000 deal or whether we're doing a couple $1 million deal. That's not a big deal. But I did have a buyer that he'd already bought a lot. We're getting ready to help him design and build his house, so he wanted the lot next door. The first lot allowed him to owner finance. The second lot, he would rather go ahead and finance. I had to go to 4 different companies. So the other thing I tell my agents all the time, don't take no for an answer. That's the other big thing. There is always an answer how to get a real estate deal done. So just don't take no. And that's going to be going from, what interest rates are you looking at today? What has changed today since I've not looked at it this morning?
Well, it's been 6 weeks of, I just did a podcast on interest rates. It's 6 weeks now of interest rates declining. So
absolutely,
we're still in the 6s. There are some 6 cases we can get in the 5s for FHA and VA. So, I mean, when you're talking about 6 weeks of declining interest rates, I think the market is showing that, and I think there's only going to be improvement from there. So
please know that when I started in real estate, interest rates were at 17 and 18%. People were buying houses. People will always buy houses. So for me, I was 21 years old, and interest rates were at 17 and 18%. And, sometimes just be a dumb blonde if you have to. Don't pay attention to it. Just keep going, because money is cyclical. You get to write off that interest. You get to refinance it as soon as it gets to where you want it to be. It just beats renting. You will never get anywhere without renting. You're just not. You're not going to get to that place you need to be in life.
I agree. Well, Jean Marie, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. If I'm in Corpus and I want to find you, how do the folks out there find you as a realtor? How they get hold of you?
They can call my cell phone, which is probably the easiest. If I don't answer, it's usually because I'm on a podcast, or I'm on a conference call, or I'm in the middle of negotiating. So the best thing to do is to call my assistant, Trisha, at 361-882-5588, extension 1002, and she can set up a private conference. If you need me sooner than that, my cell phone's 361-960-1438. My email is jmg@Weichert, and it sounds like the Y with a Kurt, but it's spelled Weichert. So it's jmg@Weichert.com.
And if you're listening to it, or if you're watching this live, you saw that go across the lower thirds. So if I'm looking for real estate in Corpus Christi, God, there's only one lady I call, and that's Jean Marie. Just to spend some time with her and get to pick her brains with her wealth of knowledge out there. Well, thanks for being with us today. My name is David Wynn. I'm with the Mortgage Edge podcast. Everybody have a great weekend, and thanks.
Thank you, David. Talk soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye-bye.